いたよね。むさぼり尽くせ。
I'll be totally honest with my feelings of Soul Hackers 2, and I'm afraid I won't be gentle and forgiving with it. I've defended Soul Hackers 2, its aesthetic, new approach of Atlus, and Soul Hackers being a new spin-off series alternative to Persona, but I'm not really happy with what I experienced throughout my 40-hour gameplay time. I knew that it won't be around the same level as Persona 5. It would be quite absurd to expect that level of potential. I have finished the story, did around 90% of side quests, and completed 80% of Demon Compendium of Soul Hackers 2, so you might understand how much I invested in this wasted potential. I was expecting it to be at least around or a bit lower level than SMT 5, but Soul Hackers 2 literally showed itself as a JRPG title from PS Vita era. Not really feel like it belongs to a new gen consoles, unfortunately. And believe me, I don't even talk about the visuals or animation effects, but overall level design that is probably worst that I've seen for a while.
召喚。
Soul Hackers 2 this time does not carry the name Shin Megami Tensei in its title, probably aiming to be a big spin-off title like Persona, sequel to the first Soul Hackers game, presenting us one of the most colorful and interesting main character of the franchise, Ringo. Ringo is an agent of Aeon, an omnipotent being within the sea of information that observes humans and creates humanoid agents to prevent any disasters from happening. Aeon senses a possibility of Earth's destruction and creates two agents, our main character Ringo and her friend Figgy, to save the lives of key people who would prevent this calamity from happening. Both Ringo and Figgy goes after the targets that will shape the Earth's future, but discovers that both of their targets are dead. Having no choice but to use Soul Hack, Ringo enters the soul of a dead devil summoner, Arrow, and resurrects him, since he's one of the key figures that will prevent the calamity from happening. With a successful Soul Hack attempt, Ringo saves Arrow and two quickly continues their journey, adding more members to their team to fight against the Iron Mask, who is accompanied by an artificial humanoid demon called Xenon, to recreate a world of their own ideal. As Arrow being a member of Yatagarasu Demon Summoner group, we begin to learn that they are in war with Phantom Society for years, and this Iron Mask is the leader of Phantom Society itself. But again, we learn that this Iron Mask and Xenon is after a spiritual court called the Covenant that would help them to carve this new world. Aside from Arrow, Ringo discovers an ex-lover of Iron Mask called Milady, and a freelancer Devil Summoner Saizo soul hacks them and expands her group of misfits to fight against Phantom Society. These terms like soul hacking and Phantom Society also being used by the first title, but it's not mandatory to play the prequel to understand the events of the second. As being a newly crafted humanoid, Ringo is curious, she is vigilant and lively. She learns about the world with the players themselves, tries to form bonds with her fellow party members, and much more. In regard to that, Ringo is one of the best charming protagonists that Shin Megami Tensei franchise ever saw. She speaks, she reacts, she is charming, well designed and remarkable. I really enjoyed her as a character. As Ringo being the main character resurrecting Arrow, Milady and Saizo, she controls the demons that they are using during the battles, forming bonds with these characters to increase the Soul Link levels. These Soul Link levels unlock new floors for Soul Matrix dungeon that is the most mediocre, uninspired and mundane optional dungeon that also has the importance to unlock the true ending. So this Soul Matrix has the most bland design of all, unlocking new passive abilities for side characters, also helps you to level up, and by completing it for 3 side characters, it leads you to the true ending, most possibly by the second playthrough if you are willing to see it. And as a masochist SMT fan I am, I did all the side quests of Soul Matrix, beat every boss of this uninspired maze, and around 30ish hours, my own soul has snuffed out. As a dungeon that shows the past and important events of that character, each Soul Matrix could have had a decent, unique design matching to that character. When it comes to demon summoning, Soul Hackers 2 is quite similar to Persona series. I don't see it much as a flaw, to be frank, since each character's design and animations are quite charming. We always see the main cast, also their animations when they do an attack, and only see the demons when we have opportunity to do a Sabbath attack, and of course during a fight against the demons. The Sabbath system is a new one, and by some aspects I feel that it's kinda dumped down the whole attacking the weakness of enemies system of SMT and Persona series. By each attack to weakness, either physical or magical, you gain 1 stack. Either by improving the passive attributes or attacking with the other characters, these Sabbath stacks increase, that leads to Ringo summoning the demons from her arsenal to do a massive AoE attack against the enemy. Sabbath is visually good, but in terms of gameplay depth, it gets repetitive quite quickly since you'll be doing these Sabbath attacks thousands of times during your journey, and unfortunately, gaining an extra turn of attack or the smirk mechanic of SMT 4 felt deeper and challenging than just focusing on creating Sabbath stacks to deal AoE damage.
邪魔をしないで
And the reason why I said it looks like a PS Vita JRPG is not because of its visuals. On the contrary, I really like the new cel-shaded demon design that is somewhat closer to Persona 5's art direction. I created every demon until level 63, and every demon's design was charming, colored detailedly, that attract me to add them to my team. Besides the demons, even main cast, the city, the side characters' illustrations were charming. Atlus did a really good job at creating more cyberpunkish, futuresque world than the first Soul Hackers. Each city map looks attracting, although there were no freedom to explore the parts or deeper into the city, but it looked fun. The main reason that made me call it like a PS Vita JRPG is the level design, and trust me, it's not just the Soul Matrix that sucks ass, but every story map is quite uninspiring, dull, as if Soul Hackers 2 is the first project of Atlus. Even PlayStation 2 SMT titles had meta maps that had interesting soundtracks that would stick in your mind for ages, mysterious atmosphere that would intrigue you to go further, and challenging bosses that will leave you with a PTSD. Soul Hackers 2 has none of them. None of the maps, soundtracks, or even bosses were challenging, except Azazel by the last dungeon, which was also a pain in the ass by the first Soul Hackers. Due to all of these reasons, I literally said this to myself: I would have dropped this if it wasn't an Atlus title or SMT title. That's how disappointed I am with Soul Hackers 2. I really wanted to praise it, compare it with SMT 5 and stuff during the first 10 hours of Soul Hackers 2, but starting with Soul Matrix, all of my interest, love, and forgiving side began to fade.
また後手を踏まされたっていうの
At first, I thought that Soul Hackers 2 would be a nice entry to the SMT franchise with its new cyberpunkish atmosphere, new characters that are interesting and charming, with easier, a bit dumbed down combat that requires no grinding. Still, even Persona 4 is a better entry title to SMT series. You know what? Just go with SMT 3 Nocturne and play it on easy if you want to start playing SMT titles, because I'm sure that even SMT fans would not be pleased with what Soul Hackers 2 brought to the table, so non-SMT fans would not be even motivated to play until the end. Other than that, my advice would be just to play the main story until you feel motivated to do side missions, and not to burn out yourself fighting against the demons while walking around uninspired dungeons that even indie JRPG titles would not design. To be honest, we saw what Atlus is capable of with other titles, so wandering around in subway lines for hours or teleporting from one space to another in undesigned Soul Matrix is unfortunately unacceptable for me. I'm not against a new spin-off titles like Persona or more colorful SMT titles. I'm not gatekeeping here at all. I just want Atlus to put more effort into their design, art direction, and even concept. I want to see more passion projects that would motivate me to go for more, not just uninspired bland dungeons that is just dumped down. And trust me, I would prefer Strange Journeys maze-like dungeon like 100 times over these uninspiring corridor dungeons. There, I said it.
我が結界を越えようこそ静寂と祈りの魂を捧げよ
If you never played an SMT before, I would still recommend you to try out SMT 3 Nocturne, Persona 4, or if you watch this video around in October or later, Persona 5 as an entry to this franchise. Soul Hackers 2 on the other hand is just bland. I really begin to feel like Gordon Ramsay ordering a plate and saying how bland it is over and over again, but that's what I feel towards Soul Hackers 2. It could have been good, colorful alternative to Persona without any social links and high school slice of life stuff, but it just turned out to be an uninspiring cyberpunkish JRPG with charming design and characters that lacks the passion of Atlus that I love for years.
お疲れ